Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Hump Day. My name is Nicole Bello with Senior HR Consultant with Smart HR Solutions, and we are ready for the HR Cafe. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes, and then we'll move on. I want to first thank you, anyone who has been either tuning on Wednesdays at 12:30 or who have been watching the broadcast. We really appreciate it. We're getting a lot of viewers taking a look at it, and I'm hoping that we are adding value to you and giving you either some food for thought or some things to think about. Today, we are going to talk about succession planning. So, if you haven't thought about it already, grab a cup of coffee and let's do some HR. So, succession planning. So, for those of you who are in your own business, it's super important. And for ones who are managers in other businesses or corporations, very super important. So it's equally important whether you are a business owner or an employee in a executive or leadership role. Succession planning is something everyone should be thinking about. So let's talk about the small business owner. So let's take me for instance. I'm a small business owner. Am I equipped for my company to move on if something happened to me? Or let's just say it wasn't something permanent. What if it was something temporary? Am I set up as an organization to where the company can continue to move on and possibly grow in my absence? Or, hey, what if I decided I want to build my business up for the next 5 years and decide I want to exit by selling? Is my company prepared to do so? On the flip side, if I'm working for a corporation and I'm in a leadership role, have I helped my company be able to replace me in the event I need to go out temporarily, something planned, something unexpected, or I decide to retire and move to the Bahamas and have a great life? Have I helped my company prepare to lose me as a key person, or have I helped my company to be able to replace key employees in the event that they voluntarily or involuntarily leave the organization? So those are some things that we're going to talk about, give you some food for thought, some um, something to think about, and something to hopefully plan. I don't want to call it succession planning. It should be more succession readiness. It's a plan, but you should be fully ready to implement someone's departure, whether it be voluntary or involuntary, on your key players. Those are your people that have roles that there's no one else to replace currently at your location. So if you have a salesperson and that's the only salesperson you have, and they're the ones that are responsible for business development, if something happens to them, I would view that as a key man person, a key person to your organization, key man or woman to your organization. Are you prepared if they decide to voluntarily or involuntarily leave your organization? Will you be able to keep up the same amount of business development that you've been doing without them there? Or will it take months or even a year to get back up to the level where your company was before that person left? Those are some things you really need to consider. So a lot of times small businesses do not have a plan to exit. Every small business needed to consider or think about, what is my exit plan? Your exit plan could be if you decide, you know what, I'm tired of working, I've made enough money, I just want to relax and not continue to do this anymore. So maybe I want to sell my business. Is my business prepared to move on, to continue if I'm no longer there? Can I sell that? If the business is so attached to me as an individual, probably can't sell that. I can't sell myself, especially if I'm not going to be in the business anymore. I've decided to exit the business. So really, what have you sold? You need to make sure you have your processes in place where someone can actually pick that up and move along with it and keep and exceed what you've already done in sales and in gaining exposure and clients and relationships. They should be able to continue without that. So succession planning or readiness will help you identify either key people or roles that you need to develop and make sure that they're there and those processes continue. I know we talked a little bit before about making sure if you're trying to, sell your business, you want to make sure that business can continue without you. So you want to make sure the procedures and processes are in place, and having a great team that's already at your organization and know how to continue without you, how that works. Prime example, for the first time since 2014, I've never taken a full week away. And I was able to take a full week away 2 weeks ago, and our operation continued. We have key people in place to where everything still was able to continue. There were some things that I needed to address as a, just personal note to other people, but I could easily do those from wherever, from vacation where I was vacationing. However, the day to day continued to happen, at our organization, even in my absence. So you want to make sure that for succession planning, you've identified the next person, the next two people actually, that you can develop and grow to where they can take on one of those key roles in your business. So let's just say if you're in a partnership, have you guys inked how you plan to exit? Whether it's in a group collectively or as individuals. So, we never know. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. We don't know, how our lives could possibly change from, one day to the next. And it doesn't have to be bad. It could be something great. Maybe someone, gets married and that spouse has a great opportunity in a different city or a different country. And that person wants to sell, their portion of the business and move on. Have you decided how that will happen? You need to make sure you've addressed that. So let's just say something happened to someone, unfortunately, and they're no longer around. How have you decided as a partnership how you will continue? Will you allow that person, family members, to come in and partner with you? Or if that's not the case, how will you value the business, and how will you get that person's portion to the family member? You need to make sure you've inked that, get you a succession readiness plan and go over that with your employment attorney or with your contract attorney and lay out how you want that to take place. It's better to do it before it happens. You want to be proactive. You don't want to be reactive, because you don't know how people attitudes will be at that point. You don't know, the uncertainty sometimes cause people to bring out the worst in individuals. You want to do it when you're still having a great time. I talked to one of our clients who actually purchased their business from the owner. 3 of the other employees purchased a business, and we talked about succession planning on yesterday, which is why I wanted to bring that topic to you guys today, because they were unaware of a lot of things that they hadn't thought about. I'm like, wow, the honeymoon is still great, and you guys are still basking in the joy of being business owners. Sit down and think about how you guys plan to exit the business, either collectively or individually. So I gave them some really good food for thought to identify, the person who could operate on their behalf if they all were gone, but something happened. You want to be able to prepare for whatever circumstances come, their way. So we identified a key person and key person 2, to succeed someone in case something happened. And we kind of put together a development plan, a leadership development plan. We talked about different skills that they would need, and so they can mentor that person and coach them to where they need to be. You want to do the next 2 people because you don't know what other people, what they have on their mind, or what goals that they're looking to do, or how their life will turn out. So you want to make sure you have options. Not to mention, I also mentioned to her that you should be always looking for new talent. You don't want to wait till someone tells you, hey, I want to give my notice. You should always be seeking out new talent. And you should be able to do that in a way that's not threatening, but maybe you do like a information gathering session where you kind of find out people who may be interested in, working at your company or having the skill set that you would like to have down the road, and kind of keep those people in contact with you. So in the event something happens, you're not starting out at ground zero trying to find someone to bring into your company to have your company continue to run seamlessly and smoothly. you've already identified, some people that can come into your organization. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. Also, a couple of things we talked about was cross training. You want to make sure that if somebody is out, whether it's on vacation or they're ill, someone else in your organization should be able to step up directly and do whatever that person was doing. So everything is seamless and your business continues to run smoothly. So make sure you have some standard operating procedures in place. We're working on those ourselves. So I'm not telling you something that we're not, thinking about working on or trying to make sure that we have all of our bases covered. So we're doing that as well. You should make sure if you have someone there that's handling key activities, that they're not the only person handling those key activities. Sometimes you need to be the person that's a backup to that person that's handling those key activities. Because before you start hiring people, you were doing it all. And then when you start to be able to be the face and be out more, working on your business and in your business, sometimes we as business owners forget some of the things that we were doing on a daily basis. So you want to make sure that you bring yourself up to speed, because you want your people to take a step away and be able to recharge and reboot and be fresh so they don't get burnt out at work. So you want to make sure you're giving them the opportunity to be out the same way as things crop up and happen that no one expected. So those unexpected times, you want to be able to still operate smoothly. So you want to make sure you have that plan already out, and that you're ready to continue in case your key people are out for any particular reason. Also, guys, if you're a partnership, you want to talk about key man insurance too. So that's one of the things I mentioned to them, as well as having some sort of term policy or insurance, to where in case something did happen to the other person, where they may have all agreed to take on some capital or something like that. If that person, for some reason, something happened and they were incapacitated or no longer with us, that would not have a negative impact on the business and how the other remaining partners will be able to continue the business. So this term insurance will actually be something that the business will have to replace that person's financial portion, and they could continue to move in their business and do what needs to be done in that person's absence. So that's something that you definitely want to take a look at, is that key man insurance. Also, too, I was talking to you about getting information from people who may down the line be interested in working at your company, or you might be interested in recruiting. So some passive recruiting is always good, to have someone that's out there that you've met, maybe you've given some sort of seminars or something like that. You've met this great person. You're like, wow, I wish I was ready. My business was ready to absorb another full-time person. I'm going to keep that person in mind. And even if you have little things, invite them to it. If you have any sort of Christmas parties, invite them to it. Anything you have, you want to keep this passive kind of recruiting thing going. So you have somebody that you have identified. So just in case your business takes off and you're like, I can definitely use another full-time person, you have someone to reach out to. We do that for our clients as well. We keep passive people for different organizations if we know that they are looking to grow in 3 months, 6 months. And that's what I think, too, that's very unique for us, is that we like to have relationships with our clients so we know what their growth strategy looks like. I think HR should be on the table, around the table, when it comes to strategy for growth of businesses. So you want to have somebody that's always thinking about, yes, I'm looking to grow, but who and what type of skill set do I need to make that reality? So having someone in HR to sit around the table to have those discussions as you strategize is very vital. Large corporations always have someone in HR around the table, whether they're talking about growth or retracting, because that person is going to be able to identify what needs to be done if it's a growth situation and what needs to happen if you're retracting. So there's a lot of different things you should have HR around the table for, to have those discussions and those decisions as you decide to grow your business. So those are some things that we talked about: identifying your rising star, passive recruiting, term insurance or key man insurance, how to exit. Also, too, you want to make sure that the people that you've identified are leadership quality. Don't just identify someone because they're there. If you don't have that person, that's fine. But now you know what you need to do. Now you know what you need to passively recruit for. And when the opportunity presents itself, you know what you need to do. And you know what your gap could possibly look like. So those are some things you really want to take into consideration and strategize for as you look into succession readiness, as you plan for succession, and make sure as you move forward, you know where your gaps are, so you know what you need to do in the future when it comes to recruiting, hiring, and staffing for your organization. So once again, Succession Planet, if you haven't already done it, be ready, okay? So as we mentioned last week, we're also giving away another thing this week. We'll do this all throughout the summer. And this is another VIP card. It's worth $150. And you can use it for a 30-minute HR consultation, a mini employee handbook review, how to hire coaching session, a mini HR audit, a 30-minute safety audit if you have a work site and you have to comply with OSHA standards, or you just want to make sure you're safe. We can come out and do a 30-minute audit to tell you where your weak points are. A 30-minute employee retention and reward discussion. So if you want to learn how to incentivize your people, come up with some sort of reward system within a budget, we can definitely have a conversation and talk to you about those things, as well as talk about what we talked about today, succession readiness. So we're ready to talk to you. Give us a call. Our number is 713-999-1205, or you can visit us on the web at www.smartyhrsolutions.com. There's a contact us page. Let us know if you want to talk to us, or you can go directly to our calendar and log on for your free 30-minute consultation. So otherwise, we will put this particular goodie in a drawing, and anyone who asks questions for the week will put their name in the drawing, and they'll get one of these nifty little credit cards. It's almost like a real credit card. You put it next to your other cards because it does have value. Our name and number is on it, and on this card it kind of tells you what all you can use it for. So we're looking forward to talking to you, learning about your business, building relationships with you, and try to offer our support wherever possible. So thank you again. Happy Hump Day. Have a great rest of your week. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us in HR Cafe. So next time, until we see you again, grab a cup of coffee, and guys, let's do some HR. Thank you. Have a great day.